I am California of the past.
I am California of the past.
I am California of the past.
My name is Lucille Lorge. I was Lucille Tomford before my marriage. I was born and raised on Grove Way in Hayward, went to the old Hayward High School, graduated from there in 1948. In 1951, I married Ray Lorge, who owned a chicken hatchery in Castro Valley. And at that time, Castro Valley was the second largest egg producing place in California. Petaluma was first, of course. There were maybe 12 hatcheries in the area throughout Castro Valley and some in Hayward. Our hatchery was hatching 30,000 baby chicks every week, which we would either sell to local ranches around us, or some we could even fly by plane over to the Philippines and so forth. You could do that with a baby chick because when they're hatched, they are formed from the white of the egg, and the yolk of the egg is in their stomach, and they live off of that for 48 hours. So they need no food or water, so it was a very nice thing for us because we could ship them any place where they could arrive within that period of time. We sold mostly to local families. My husband, myself, his father, Cyril, and his mother were able to do all the work at the hatchery. We would set the eggs in large trays, put them into 2 large walk-in incubators, and in 18 days we would lower the trays to drawers down below, and 3 more days the baby chicks would hatch. We would have them sexed because the pullets were worth a lot more than the cockerels. And at that time, all the hatcheries were actually drowning the cockerels. They would fill garbage cans with water and drown a lot of the male baby chicks because there was no market for them. So at Easter time, which is coming, we just passed actually, my mother-in-law and I decided we were going to color these cockerels and see if we could sell them. So we got Easter egg dye, and as they hatched, we would take them out of the incubator and dip them in the colored dyes and put them right back into the incubator. And they would fluff out in beautiful colors of baby chicks. And so we had quite a business going on there, 25 cents a chick, until the SPCA caught up with us. And that was the end of that business. It wasn't that coloring them would hurt them, because it didn't. They would fluff right out, and we never lost any in the coloring process. It was that people might buy them who did not know how to care for a baby chick, although we did have pamphlets printed up that we gave out to everyone that bought them, because you would have to put them in a box with a light over them for about a week until they started to feather out. And of course, when they feathered out, they were no longer a colored baby chick. They were usually white leghorn chickens, although we hatched Barred Rock, Buff Worthingtons, Bantams. We hatched everything. We didn't only hatch chicks. We hatched ducks and geese, ostrich. There was a gentleman who had custom hatching, and we hatched a lot of the fighting cocks, which are against the law now. Of course, they would always say, well, these are just for display at the county fair. We even hatched quail, and their eggs were so small, they took, I think, 16 days. Their eggs were so small, we had to use Do you remember the old popcorn poppers that were a wire basket with a slide-off top? You're too young. Anyway, we would have to put the eggs in the popcorn popper. Otherwise, they would hatch and they would be running all over the inside of the incubator. And and then for the ostrich, their eggs were so large that we had to accommodate them in different trays too. For a short period of time, they were experimenting with eggs that had been in the incubator 18 days only, and that is just before the down is beginning to form on the baby chick. And I would drive loads of eggs over to Cal University to their science lab, and they were experimenting with a cure for cancer at that time using these egg embryos. We continued on until 1945, 1946. People started buying off the properties that were used for the chicken ranches. So the hatchery business, of course, kind of went down the tubes, and so we turned our building into a pet store. And so we sold everything you could sell, which you are no longer allowed to sell. In Hayward, we sold skunks and raccoons and tortoises and just about anything. We kind of slowly went out of the hatchery into the pet store in the late 50s. And by the early 60s, we decided to build onto our original building. And at that time, coin-op laundries and dry cleaning were coming in. And so we built onto our hatchery building and built the R&J, which would be Ray and his brother Jim, dry cleaning business. And that is still R&J Quick Clean Center, and my son Chris now runs that business.